Trish was driving home when she heard a crash. When she checked her rearview mirror, she saw a car coming at her on two wheels. The Jeep tipped onto its side before sliding into the back of Trish's Tesla. She got out to check on the Jeep driver. Thankfully, he was fine. He turned out to be only 16 years old, and this was his first vehicle collision. It almost looked like he was going to save it. If he'd turned the wheel the other way, the car should have flipped back onto its wheels, but since the airbags had already deployed after the initial impact, we're guessing it was impossible for the driver to see what was going on. Trish wanted to shout out her son Max, who convinced her to send in her Teslacam video. Good work, Max. Thanks for the support. Trish filed a claim with the Jeep driver's insurance provider and is currently waiting for a repair estimate from Tesla. Larry was driving his Model X eastbound on I-80 in Atalissa, Iowa. He was almost done passing a semi-truck when the trucker started merging into his lane. Larry tried to escape but was forced into the ditch at 70 miles per hour. Larry kept his cool and managed to regain control of his car before slowing down and getting out of the ditch and back onto the road. Larry told us he may have overtaken the semi and greeted him with an internationally recognized gesture. He took the Tesla to be checked out before paying $175 for an alignment. Thankfully, there was no permanent damage. While driving home from work, Jay saw a trailer swaying back and forth in its lane, so he stayed back instead of passing it, even though his lane was clear. He's glad he did. Not long after, the trailer came disconnected from the truck. As soon as the trailer began swerving, Jay slowed down and prepared to make an evasive maneuver. The trailer then went off the road and took out a sign. Jay kept going due to the high-speed highway traffic behind him, but he contacted the California Highway Patrol and sent them a copy of his video. This doesn't happen often, but do you remember the two BMWs we showed you in last week's episode being raced by a father and son? We got a submission from another Tesla owner who captured the same incident. This one is from Kendall, and in her rear camera, we can actually see the owner of the blue Tesla who sent us the original submission. Get ready for some multi-Teslacam action. Kendall was on her way to pick up her daughter from soccer practice when she encountered the BMWs, and she confirmed they appeared to be driving together. Kendall noticed the broken down bus on the right before the BMW swerved behind her and slammed into the back of the bus, taking out a Toyota Camry in the process. Kendall called 911 to report the collision, then passed the scene on her way back after picking up her daughter. Her daughter even recognized the BMW drivers as a boy from her high school and his father, and she sent the boy a message and confirmed that nobody had been hurt. After 3 years and 234 episodes in this series, we're pretty sure this is only the second time two unrelated Tesla owners sent in footage of the same collision. We just wanted to thank all our submitters who've supported our channels over the years. Without you, we'd have no videos. Speaking of videos, let's get back to the show. Chris was driving in Rockaway, New Jersey when a trucker didn't see the car to the right of him and pit maneuvered it. The involved drivers stopped on the shoulder, but it's hard to tell where the trucker went. We just hope he also stopped on the shoulder up ahead. Tonino was driving in Paris when the driver in front of him suddenly changed his mind and backed into his Tesla. The other driver was an Uber driver, and he claimed that Tonino had hit him and refused to provide his insurance information, even as Tonino told him he'd captured the collision on video. In France, each driver's insurance info is visible on their windshield, but when Tonino walked over to the Toyota to look at it, he told us the Uber driver pushed him. That's when he'd had enough. He called the police, and they quickly responded and helped him get the other driver's insurance details. Sonat had left his Model Y parked on the streets of Istanbul, Turkey to go shopping when a stray dog climbed onto the frunk to take a nap. The dogs were gone by the time Sonat got back, but he found this Sentry Mode video and a nasty scratch on the frunk's paint. Our friends over at VIOFO just launched their brand new camera, the VS1, and they sent us a few of them to give away to our fans. If you want a chance to win, comment below what kind of car you drive, and we'll pick a random winner and announce them in 2 weeks. Gilbert was driving his Model 3 in a residential area in Elgin, Texas. Suddenly, he felt a large impact from the side and felt shattered glass spray the inside of his car. A woman had run a stop sign and smashed into Gilbert's Tesla before crashing into a car parked in front of a house. Gilbert's phone automatically dialed 911 after detecting the collision, and Gilbert was able to summon first responders to the scene. The other driver claimed she hadn't run the stop sign, so Gilbert let her know his Tesla had recorded the whole thing and that the video would prove she was lying. That's when the police officer weighed in, stating, "That's why I love Teslas." Gilbert is currently negotiating with the other driver's insurance provider, which is taking a long time, even with the video evidence. Matthew was driving his Model 3 in Quebec, Canada. He was going in a straight line on his way to pick up an Uber rider when the rear tires lost traction. Matthew thought for sure he would smash into the guardrail and completely wreck the right side, but miraculously, he stopped mere inches away from it. He told us he'll be switching his all-season tires to winter tires after that close call. Eric was on his way to a doctor's appointment with his daughter when they witnessed some coal rolling firsthand. It looks like the dirty diesel didn't like how close the Model 3 was following and left him with something to remember him by. Given the number of both pickup trucks and Teslas throughout Florida, Eric is shocked it took this long for him to witness a coal rolling. Kaden was driving when he noticed some police activity. Suddenly, a car came speeding up behind him. He punched the juice pedal, but then a cop suddenly deployed spike strips at the reckless vehicle. The fleeing driver lost control and wrecked at the next intersection. Kaden kept going before circling back to see if the police wanted his Teslacam footage. There was so much going on that he decided to go home and call the non-emergency line instead. Officers eventually came to his home and collected his Teslacam footage. Allan E. was driving in Fresno when he stopped behind a shiny new Ford F-150 Lightning at a traffic light. He was admiring it and he wondered if the driver would hit the juice pedal. After the light turned green and the truck turned left, the driver did just that. Allan didn't race him as traffic was fairly heavy, but he did manage to keep up with him. They both ended up taking the same highway exit, and a little while later, they both took a right-hand turn with a Nissan Versa between them. The F-150 driver had to stop when he encountered a line of traffic, but the Versa driver wasn't paying attention and rear-ended him. Allan pulled around the vehicles, opting not to stop as there was a lot of traffic and the collision seemed minor. Riley was obeying the 45-mile-per-hour speed limit when a red Ford Fusion started tailgating him. Riley slowed down to 40 miles per hour, and after a few seconds, the Ford driver grew impatient and passed him illegally. Evidently, they were both headed into the same area, so Riley ended up following the Ford unintentionally. Riley wasn't really thinking about this as he was just headed to his destination, but evidently the Ford driver was still annoyed, and he stopped on the side of the road to throw a drink at Riley's Tesla. Riley kept going, even continuing past his destination to avoid a confrontation with the furious Fusion driver. He made a police report of the interaction and included this video footage as evidence. This submitter was stopped in traffic when he was rear-ended by a Toyota 4Runner. The young driver admitted he'd been looking down when the collision occurred. They both pulled over, and our submitter told us the other driver was a nice guy. They both agreed to report the collision to the police. When they asked if either of them were under the influence, our submitter asked the guy, and he said he wasn't. Evidently, the police were content to take his word for it. Our submitter told us he's just happy the other guy had insurance coverage. According to him, in Ozark, that's like winning the lottery. Last March, the Utah Tesla Owners Facebook group received a post from the Make-A-Wish Foundation, telling them about a 5-year-old named Abram with Wiskott-Aldrich syndrome who loves Teslas. A bunch of happy Tesla owners showed up to support Abram by putting on this awesome light show just for him. The Tesla community really is the best. Be sure to go subscribe to Wham Bam Dashcam. Next week, we'll be giving away another 3 Dashcams over there, and you won't want to miss your chance to win. See you then.
Woo! Wham Bam, we got a Patreon, man. Please support the show.